CIET NCERT presents the audiobook of Physical Education and Well-being titled Khel Praveen for Grade 9.
Page number 1. Unit 1. Evolution of Physical Education and Well-being. The first unit of this book explores the concept of physical education as a holistic approach to nurture the body, mind, and spirit. It emphasizes the importance of physical activities, games, yoga, and sports in promoting physical fitness, emotional balance, mental calmness, and social values like respect, fairness, and cooperation. The unit highlights the National Curriculum Framework for School Education NCFSE 2023, which integrates traditional Indian practices with modern sports to foster overall wellness and personal growth. The unit explores the meaning, definitions, aims, and objectives of physical education. It goes beyond physical activity, highlighting learning through the body to develop teamwork, discipline, and self-control. Scholars like Sri Aurobindo and organizations like UNESCO have highlighted the role of physical education in achieving holistic development. The aims include building character, instilling virtues such as honesty and patience, and preparing students to be socially responsible and emotionally balanced individuals. This unit also focuses on physical literacy, which is defined as the ability, confidence, and motivation to engage in physical activities throughout life. It includes developing locomotor, non-locomotor, and manipulative skills which are essential for fitness, holistic health, and overall development. The unit encourages students to reflect on their experiences with physical education and its impact on their growth. It also promotes the integration of fitness and well-being into daily life while informing students about various career pathways in physical education. At the bottom left of this page, a picture has been given. It shows a male athlete crossing the finish line at the end of the race. Page number 10. Chapter 2. History and Culture of Physical Education in India. Sharir Madhyam Khalu Dharma Sadhanam, said Mahakavi Kalidas in Kumar Sambhavam, meaning, this body is surely the foremost instrument of doing good deeds. On a clear morning, in an ancient Gurukul, a group of young students wake up before sunrise. After prayers, they begin their day with archery practice, aiming arrows at wooden targets set under the trees. Some students wrestle in the mud courtyard, while others engage in farm work or practice yoga postures. Only after this physical training do they gather around their teacher for lessons in the Vedas, grammar, and philosophy. From the Gurukulas of the Vedic age to universities of ancient India, physical education had been practiced regularly. This chapter takes you on a journey through tradition, showing how physical education was practiced, celebrated, and gradually woven into daily life. We will also replicate these practices according to the contemporary scenario. The concept of education in India has always been holistic. It was never limited to reading and writing. Students were trained to develop the body and the mind together. Hence, physical training exercises, games, martial arts, and yoga were an important part of ancient life. Evidences for these are also found in the Vedas, epics, Ayurveda, and even various archaeological findings. At the bottom right of page number 10, Figure 2.1 has been given. In this figure, a female athlete has been illustrated doing various yoga postures on a yoga mat. Page number 11. Evolution of physical education in Indian culture. Vedic period. Rig Veda describes chariot races and wrestling. Yajur Veda highlights archery and Dhanur Veda. Atharva Veda contains mantras about bows and arrows. Epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata depict martial training. 1st and 2nd century Common Era. Charak Samhita highlights exercise benefits. 3rd to 6th century Common Era. Sushruta Samhita emphasizes moderate exercise. 4th century before Common Era. Arthashastra describes military training. 12th century Common Era. Manasolas mentions Mallakhambh. 13th century Common Era. Mallapuran describes wrestling exercises. 1854. Wood's Dispatch focuses on literary subjects. 19th century Indian Education Commission 1882, also called the Hunter Commission, recommends that schools encourage native games, gymnastics, drills and other exercises. 1914. The foundation of the Hanuman Vyayam Prasarak Mandal, HVPM, in Amravati, Maharashtra. The Vaidya brothers started it as an akhada, but soon developed it into an institution that trained instructors in traditional Indian physical activities. Did you know ancient Indian texts like the Charak Samhita, circa 1st to 2nd century Common Era, explain that exercise, Vyayama, which is a foundational text of Ayurveda, highlights the need for balance between activity and rest, reflecting an early scientific understanding of fatigue and recovery. Sushrut Samhita, circa 3rd to 6th century Common Era, emphasizes the importance of moderate exercise for good health and clearly instructs that it should be done only up to half of one's capacity. Page number 12. From Independent India to the present. 1. 1948. Tara Chand Committee, National Cadet Corps NCC, was founded to build discipline and fitness among youth. 2. 1950. Central Advisory Board on Physical Education was created. 3. 1957. Lakshmibai College of Physical Education, Gwalior, a pioneer institute of physical education, was founded. 4. 1961. National Institute of Sports, NIS, a pioneer institute of coaching and development of coaches, was founded. 5. 1964. Kothari Commission. It was decided that physical education should be treated as an essential part of general education, linked to health, social, moral, and spiritual development, not just athletics. 6th, 1986. National Policy on Education directed that schools should spend about 8 to 10% of teaching time on physical and health education. 7. 2005. National Curriculum Framework, NCF, emphasized that sports and yoga should be seen as a part of learning. Every school day should include time for physical activity. 8th, 2020. National Education Policy, NEP, gave special importance to fitness, yoga, and sports as part of core curriculum. It called for equal focus on academics, arts, vocational, and physical education. 9. 2022 National Curriculum Framework for Foundational Stage NCFFS 2022 emphasizes physical education PE as vital for holistic child development. 10th 2023 National Curriculum Framework for School Education NCFSE 2023 Health and physical education should be treated as a curricular area at the secondary stage till grade 10. It integrates traditional Indian games alongside modern sports and link daily physical activity to life skills, values and well-being. Page number 13. Long before marked playgrounds and stadiums existed, physical activity was part of everyday life. In early Indian societies, physical activities referred to daily movements such as walking, running, swimming, lifting, farming, hunting, bathing, and martial training. Games were not separate leisure activities but were connected with health, discipline, social interaction, and preparation for life. For example, children learned to run while helping elders, balance while walking on uneven paths, and work together. Cleanliness, strength, discipline, and cooperation were essential for survival and community living. Over time, these daily movements developed into organized training, martial skills, wrestling traditions, and later structured games. Physical fitness was valued as a means of maintaining health, fulfilling duties, and strengthening community life. Let us explore how physical activities and games evolved in early Indian society from prehistoric times to the colonial period. Activity. Figure 2.2 shows the rock shelters of Bhimbetka and encircle the words that depict the scene in the box given below. Hunting, gathering, climbing, running, and group movement. Equestrian, javelin, aqua sport, cycling, mace, archery. Here, figure 2.2 has been given that shows the rock shelters of Bhimbetka. The rock paintings of prehistoric times show that early humans engaged in various activities that built physical strength, endurance, coordination, and cooperation. These activities required strength, endurance, and teamwork. The UNESCO World Heritage Report on the rock shelters of Bhimbetka records paintings depicting hunting scenes, use of weapons, and collective activities, indicating that physical movement was central to daily life and social organization. Page number 14. People of the Sindhu-Saraswati civilization led active daily lives. Physical activity was mainly linked to agriculture, construction, craft work, walking through planned cities, and managing water systems. Structures such as the Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro and water reservoirs at Dholavira show the importance of cleanliness, movement, and community effort. Physical activity was a part of daily work and community living. Rigved. The Rigved entails warriors, chariots, weapons, and physical strength, indicating that courage, endurance, and combat ability were highly valued in early society. Samaved. The Samaved focuses on the chanting of hymns. Proper chanting requires disciplined posture, rhythm, and controlled breathing, showing coordination between the body and the voice. This reflects the importance of physical control and discipline in ritual practice. Yajurved. The Yajurved describes rituals that involved precise movements, balance, and bodily steadiness. Such practices required control over the body and careful coordination, highlighting the role of physical discipline in religious life. Atharvaved. Atharvaved places strong emphasis on health, bodily strength, bal, healing, and protection from disease. It reflects an early awareness of physical well being and the need to maintain stability for a healthy life. Upanishads. The Upanishads, 800 to 200 before Common Era, gave a spiritual meaning to physical strength. The Kathopanishad says, Nyayamatma balhinen labhya nacha pramadat tapaso vapyalingat, which means this self cannot be attained by the weak. It depicts the body as a chariot, the mind as the reins, the intellect as the driver, and the senses as horses. This shows that control of the body and senses was essential for higher wisdom. The picture given here at the bottom right corner of page number 14 shows 5 books, each representing the 4 Vedas, the Rig Veda, the Samaved, the Yajurved, and the Atharvaved, and the 5th book illustrating the Upanishad. Here, an ink pot has been given, and a peacock feather has been shown inside the ink pot as an early description of ways to write. Page number 15. Before we move on, Vasishtha's Dhanurved Samhita, belonging to the medieval period, describes systematic training in archery, including posture, balance, controlled movement, and discipline. It also emphasizes moderation in physical effort and ethical conduct, showing that martial training is focused on strength, control, and responsibility rather than competition or sport. During the epic period, physical training became more organized and purposeful, especially as part of education and preparation for life. The great Indian epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, describe how students were trained in archery, the use of weapons, physical strength, and discipline under the guidance of teachers, Guru, in Gurukulas. The Mahabharata provides detailed descriptions of systematic training, where students practiced archery, mace fighting, and other forms of warfare, including horse and chariot riding. These epics show that physical activity during the epic period was closely linked with education, physical training, discipline, courage, and moral values. On page number 15, figure 2.3 has been given. In this illustration, 2 practitioners are shown doing mace fighting. Shlok. Sharir cheshta ya cheshtha स्थैर्यार्था बलवर्धिनी देह व्यायाम संख्याता मात्रया ताम समाचरेत. चरक संहिता सूत्र स्थान 7.31, taken from 7,31, meaning the action of the body meant for stability and for increasing strength is known as physical exercise, deh vyayam. Such suitable physical movement, bringing stability in body and increase in strength, is known as vyayam, physical exercise. This has to be practiced in moderation, with apt control, and for proper duration. Page number 16. During the early classical period, ideas about physical activity became more systematic, especially in relation to health, discipline, and state responsibilities. Texts from this period show that physical strength and bodily control were considered important for both personal well being and effective administration. The Arthashastra by Kautilya describes physical discipline, regular routine, and fitness, particularly for rulers, soldiers, and officials. The text also highlights cleanliness, order, and regulation of daily activities in cities, showing that physical preparedness and public health were matters of state concern. According to ancient Indian knowledge, exercise is any physical activity of the body that is beneficial, improves stability, and increases strength. Such activity is called Vyayam. However, this exercise should always be done in moderation, not excessively. According to Acharya Charak, regular physical exercise makes the body light, strong, stable, and hardworking. It also improves pain tolerance, helps in balancing doshas, and strengthens digestion and metabolism. All these benefits are achieved through proper exercise. On page number 16, figure 2.4 has been given. In this figure, two athletes have been illustrated practicing mace fighting. Did you know? In South India, Kalaripayattu emerged as a systematic martial art practiced in spaces for Kalari that focused on flexibility, balance, strength, agility, and weapon training. Wrestling, Mallayuddha, was practiced in akhadas in northern, central, and western regions of India, while various stick and sword practices developed in eastern and central India. Although these traditions have ancient roots, most written records describing their methods belong to the medieval period. Page number 17. Figure 2.5 has been given at the top left corner of page number 17. In this figure, an athlete practicing on the Mallakhambh has been shown. Medieval physical culture. The Malla Puran, 13th century Common Era, describes 16 types of wrestling exercises for strength and stamina. Wrestlers were expected to practice daily, combining drills with yoga postures. Wrestling was both a sport and a way to build character. The Manasolasa, 12th century Common Era, written by King Someshwar III, is the first text to mention Mallakhambh as a unique Indian sport where athletes perform acrobatic poses on a wooden pole. This exercise improved strength, balance, and flexibility, and its royal patronage shows how highly it was valued. In medieval times, wrestling, Mallayuddh, became a community sport. Towns had akhadas, wrestling schools, where young people trained in dands, push-ups, baithaks, squats, and weightlifting. Wrestling matches were held at fairs and festivals, attracting large crowds and strengthening community bonds. Figure 2.6 has been given on page number 17. It shows two athletes doing wrestling, the Mallayuddh, in akhada or a wrestling school. Late medieval period. During the late medieval period, physical activities were closely connected with military preparation and administration. The Ain-e-Akbari records that wrestling, archery, horse riding, and hunting were encouraged during the reign of Akbar. Contemporary Marathi chronicles describing the life of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and Rajputana history describing the life of Western Indian warriors show that physical endurance, agility, weapon training, and movement across difficult terrain were essential for warfare and defense. These activities focused on physical strength, mental resilience, and readiness, unlike organized games. Page number 18. Global origins of physical education. While India followed its own traditions in Europe, the modern subject of physical education began to take shape in the 18th and 19th centuries. The term itself first appeared in English in 1748 in a translation of a French book where it spoke about the physical education of children. This shows that by the mid 1700s, Europeans had begun to think of training the body as an important part of education. By the late 1700s, educational reformers were treating physical training as a part of general schooling. In Germany, Johann Christoph Friedrich Gutsmuth, often called the grandfather of gymnastics, published Gymnastics for Youth in 1793. He designed exercises and games for children as part of their overall development. Another German, Friedrich Ludwig Jahn, wrote Die Deutsche Turnkunst in 1816, promoting Turnen or organized gymnastics to build discipline, strength, and national pride. In Sweden, Per Henrik Ling developed a system of gymnastics that combined medical, military, and educational training. These ideas also spread to America. In 1825, Charles Beck, a German who had moved to the United States, introduced gymnastics at the Round Hill School in Massachusetts and set up the first school gymnasium in the country. A few years later, in 1828, he translated Jahn's book into English as Treatise on Gymnastics. In the introduction, Beck even used the term physical education, helping to popularize the idea that training the body should be a part of school learning. In the middle of the 19th century, many schools in Europe and America had gymnastics, games, and drills as part of their daily timetable. Did you know the Swedish system of gymnastics developed by Per Henrik Ling later influenced military drills and even modern physiotherapy exercises? Colonial India. When the British introduced modern schooling in India, their main focus was on literary subjects. The famous Wood's Dispatch of 1854 laid the foundation for schools and universities, but did not include physical education. Page number 19. On page number 19, figure 2.7 has been given. This figure illustrates a group of athletes playing the game of cricket. British sports like cricket, hockey, and football entered Indian schools and clubs, often promoted by the princely states and their rulers. Indian rulers like the Maharaja of Patiala and the Maharaja of Vijayanagar patronized cricket and hockey, while wrestling and traditional games continued outside the school system. Figure 2.8 has been given on page number 19. This figure illustrates a group of young school-going children playing the game of Stapu. Page number 19 has figure 2.7. In this figure, a group of children are playing the game of cricket. There is a bowler, a batsman, a wicket-keeper and a fielder, and an umpire is judging the match. Figure 2.8 has been given on page number 19. In this figure, a group of school-going children have been illustrated while they play the traditional game of Pittu, also known as Lagori or Seven Stones. One child is throwing a ball to knock down a pile of flat stones, while the other team members get ready to rebuild the pile and dodge the ball. It's played in an open field outside a formal school setting. In 1914, a major step was the foundation of the Hanuman Vyayam Prasarak Mandal, HVPM, in Amravati, Maharashtra. In 1920, Harry Crow Buck, an American educator, started the YMCA College of Physical Education in Madras, which became the first professional institute for physical education in India. During the 1930s, more colleges opened in Hyderabad, Lucknow, and Bombay. Page number 20. Did you know? What did the city of Pune in Maharashtra give to the world? The history of badminton in India dates back to the 1860s, when the British Army officers stationed in Pune adopted a local game called Puna or Puna by adding a net and formalizing the rules. The Sergeant Report of 1944 made physical education compulsory in all schools, and the All India Physical Education Conference in Amravati in 1946 brought educators from across the country together on one platform. These steps laid down the groundwork for India to step forward and make physical education an integral part of every student's education. Exercises. 1. From the given options, select the words which, according to you, are promoted by the Charak Samhita. Discuss with your peers. Heaviness and sleepiness. Exercise and rest. Lightness of body. Faster breathing. Hunger and thirst. Fatigue and recovery. 2. On a map of India, encircle any state or region and name the games played there. Do they have different names across the country? Discuss how geographic terrain impacts the type of sport played in a particular region. 3. Write a list of shlokas from various epics and samhita which mention physical activities or physical culture. Chapter 2 ends here.
Khel, Praveen, you were just listening to this audiobook. Textbook of Physical Education and Well-Being for Grade 9. Narrator Vaibhav J. Srivastav. Sound recordist Manju Kumari. Assistance in production Chetana Sharma. Directed and produced by Vimlesh Chaudhary. This audiobook is brought to you by CIET NCERT, New Delhi, India.